How can we be who we're meant to be based on the vision of our faith if we're denied the right to employ and engage people and even present what we believe is the true nature of the human person?
Where we get our hope from as Christians is that Jesus is still on the throne. That's not changed.
And the government have effectively creating blasphemy laws to outlaw Christianity, the foundation of our nation.
When children will be greeted by staff asking them, which pronouns are you using? What do you mean? They are confusing kids unnecessarily.
So that's why the Bible is our foundation for the communion. Of course, Christ is our foundation for salvation. And we follow him when we follow the words of the Bible.
But we have to see the bigger picture. If we don't get everything we want this time around, well, that's no reason to give up. You keep fighting more.
It wasn't until Christians said, yeah, you killed your babies, what are you going to do about this? God had a solution, but the solution wasn't going to be effective if I didn't first acknowledge that I needed that solution.
Right. We are here until we have a law which allows babies to have the same rights as everybody else, and we're not going to go away. I can guarantee that we won't.
May we continue to boldly stand as a light in the darkness, a voice for truth and a force for good.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to a special edition of the Here I Stand podcast on this Friday morning. It's very timely, and we have Edward Schuller on today for a second time from the Red Union's Secretary of the TPAA to talk about this draconian measure by the Labor government here in Victoria to try and ban the Red Unions. Edward, welcome back on the show.
John, Riley, thanks for having me. It's great to be back on.
Yeah, it's great to have you. To jump straight into it, basically I'm assuming what's happening is Labor are unhappy that there's an alternative union to their Labor backing unions that have been running for many years and have been funding all of their party politics. And so they're trying to get rid of you guys. Is that what's happening?
That's a pretty good summation. Yeah, it might seem pretty corrupt and unbelievable, but it's definitely happening. Just over 2 weeks ago, the Karl government in Victoria announced that they would be shutting down the Red Unions. They named us in their media release. They call us fake and scams and all of this sort of stuff, and we'll get into why that's nonsense. But the bottom line is they're shutting us down because we don't fund them. We don't fund any political party, but we take a pretty strong stance against the madness that the left-wing unions do push. I mean, we're patriotic. We love our country. We're run by people who, generally are of a common faith, and we just hate to see the union movement, the working class of this country, be capitalised on by people who don't have their best interests at heart. These are unions who started off with the right intention, obviously, but so many of them have just become essentially a mouthpiece for the Labor Party. And the Labor Party was supposed to be the mouthpiece of the union movement. The union movement created the Labor Party, not the other way around. They've forgotten that. And you've seen it time and time again. The Labor Party cannot claim to be the voice of the working class, whether it was with The Voice. With the Yes campaign, they got all of the big business guys involved. You got Alan Joyce and Qantas and all of these other big organisations headlined by the big unions. So this is part of a longer effort to shut us down. We don't fund them. That's why they're coming after us. It's as simple as that. And it's 3 months out from an election, so it's pretty blatant. It's basically saying, hey, if you're a competitor union that does not fund us, the government of the day, we're going to shut down your right to exist, which is pretty Soviet. It's a pretty Soviet-style response from a government that's changed leaders without seeking the approval of the public, all of that sort of thing. It used to be a pretty common thing in our democracy to say, no, well, the people should really decide. But we know it's the unions that decide for the Labor Party and vice versa. So, look, we take a strong stance against that. We take the controversial view that unions should look after workers' interests first and foremost and pretty much only. We don't spend money on foreign political issues. We don't spend money on left-wing campaigning issues. We provide a service which is far better because we're not distracted by all that, because we don't funnel all this money into left-wing campaigning. We're on average 30% cheaper than every single other union. And that takes some doing, but that's why they're trying to shut us down.
Wow. And you said Soviet. So it is dictatorial in a way, isn't it? If you're not aligned with the government ideologically or supporting them economically, like with money, and it's so Yeah, it's reflective of the times, and I can see why there's a March for Free Speech on the weekend happening across Australia.
Yeah, I mean they've
Yeah.
clamped down on free speech. They're even using a bit of a wedge for the bill. Now I get into the technicalities of it. They've used the old grubby omnibus tactic, whereby they're shutting down the red unions in one part, and then the second part is they're clamping down on hate groups, neo-Nazis and terrorists. So they're lumping in frontline nurses and teachers with neo-Nazis and terrorists. Now, the measures in that second part of the bill don't even make sense. There's federal law that already deals with the matters at hand. They're basically saying, oh, we need to make sure that we stop Hamas from incorporating in Victoria. Like, it's just nonsense. It's not happening. These neo-Nazis aren't sitting around doing paperwork to try and get registration with, Consumer Affairs in Victoria. It's just absolute ridiculousness. And they've done it because they wanted to use it as a political wedge for the Liberal Party. And they haven't fallen for it. And credit to them. We've been working really hard with them over the last 2 weeks. It's been a long 2 weeks, but we've had massive institutional support come out. We've had the AJA come out against it, seeing it for what it is. We've had the IPA come out against it, CPAC come out against it, and ultimately the Greens have come out against it because there is a far left-wing union that's also affected. And what that means is we have the numbers. So last night it was voted on in the lower house, where Labor have a massive majority, so it passes there, obviously. But it was only Labor voting for the bill, and if that trend continues when it gets to the upper house in 2 weeks' time, they're going to lose. They're going to lose. We've already got over 20 people, and 20 is what you needed to kill the bill. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. They're no doubt going to pull out all stops to try and sway the Greens in particular. The coalition are very strong on this. We did a press conference on Wednesday. But yeah, interesting times, positive at the moment, but still a long way to go.
And it's quite unusual because usually this time of year in election campaign, like, they're in caretaker mode. Like, they've gone out of their way to be like, we don't want these red unions affecting politics in any way. Well, not politics even, just how education is run, because that's a big thing here in Victoria. Our most recent episode I did with Jasmine Ewan, and we talked about the respectful relationships curriculum. That's something that's big. Another thing that's big today, I believe, is Wear It Purple Day. That's something I didn't have when I was in school.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I'm not going to speculate on the timing. I mean, there's more than enough reason for them to come out after us. It's happened before. It happened in 2022 when the Palaszczuk government kicked us out of Queensland. Like, all of this has happened before. So there's reason enough. We attacked their funding model. But the announcement came about 2 weeks after we went on the Karl Stefanovic show and highlighted some of the basically pornography that's being pushed in schools, this under the guise of sex ed, by these massive external organizations. So there's definitely an agenda there. We're pretty steadfast in just making sure that we're representing nurses and teachers in what they need. But on that stuff that we spoke about on the Karl Stefanovic show, we've surveyed our teachers on it, and the response is resounding. Like, the overwhelming majority think, yeah, this is an issue of high importance and it needs to be addressed, and the funding should be pulled for these organisations. So, look, plenty happening at the moment. We're happy with where things sit, but yeah, they can get grubby. They've already pulled out all stops. They're not afraid of grubby political tactics. So yeah, we'll stay on guard. But you're right, it is pretty unprecedented because we're less than 3 months out from an election now, and we have, it might be 3 months exactly today. We have a extra sitting week tacked on, which is pretty unprecedented. So they put an extra sitting week on to grand final week, which is the last weekend of September. Not going to be very popular with the Melbourne class, but what they do, like, and I don't know if it'll get debated then. It's probably more likely to get debated in 2 weeks' time because there's an extra sitting week as well. But obviously everyone's attention is on the grand final. So they're going to be able to pass a lot of legislation, a lot of controversial bills that just won't get media attention. So that's why I say Soviet style. It's the taking out the trash at 4 p.m. in the 4 p.m. news on steroids.
Yeah, no, for sure. They're definitely... it's very blatant, in fact. Yeah. Very blatant. So they're not hiding their agenda. And something I found with the left recently is in other years that they would have been like sort of try and do this behind the scenes and nobody would know about it. But now they're just like so open and so bold about everything they do. They're just like, we're going to come for you. We don't care about what it looks like anymore. Yep.
Yeah, that's certainly what we found. I mean, again, at least the Palaszczuk government in 2022 didn't name us in the bill. It was clearly targeting us. But in the media release, it's like, no, we're shutting down red unions. We're shutting these unions down. because they're a fake and a scam. And the reasoning they use for that is because we're not registered under the federal legislation. But the federal legislation, which they've drafted, prohibits competitive unions from registering. They've got something called conveniently belong clause, and I won't get too much into it. But basically it says if workers can already conveniently belong to an existing union, they can't start a new union. And the people judging that most of the time are labour apparatchiks in the industrial relations commissions.
That's shocking. I mean, they've literally got so many loopholes to support their left-wing agenda, and then for us on the right, they're just like, no, you don't have any place in this. And I think the IPA, they recently did a study on this, Jordan Abazid, and something like $2 trillion going towards left-wing organizations. And do we see that coming to the right? Not even close.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I spoke with Jordan when I was in Melbourne at the start of this week, and he's done an enormous amount of work, and the IPA had more broadly. So, no, good on them for coming out against this bill as well. It's good to have institutional coverage, and that's, certainly helped in being able to prosecute the case. So we'll see where things go, but cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, for sure. Do we know when the bill comes to a vote? Is that going to be next week?
It won't be next week. It'll be the week of the 7th of September. So that's a Monday. It'll likely be then. But there is the possibility, if things don't change and they can't get the Greens to cave, Labor are just looking at a defeat in the upper house. And it's very rare for when a government knows that they don't have the numbers to push ahead anyway. Now, this might be an exception to that because they have to sort of show face with the unions that they want campaigning for them in 3 months' time. And they could say, hey, look, we put it to a vote. It's very frustrating. You know, we voted for it, but we just didn't have the numbers. That might happen, but it's pretty humiliating as well, 3 months out from an election, for that to happen. So I'm sure they're thinking about it at the moment. I don't see a way that they get the Greens or the coalition or any of the crossbench that we've got on board to cave, but it's early days still.
It seems unbelievably cocky, though. It's so close to the election, and they mightn't even have the numbers. I mean, how is the election even shaping up down there? Is there a chance of One Nation? Isn't it a 3-horse race? I heard One Nation, Liberals, and Labor are now fairly on track.
Yeah, well, they're all in the mid-20s. So at this point, none of them can win without a coalition with someone, whether that's Labor with the Greens or the Liberals with One Nation. And so it is quite cocky in that regard, that they're like, oh yeah, we'll just push this through and nobody will bat an eyelid, but the public have seen it.
Yeah, they have. So yeah, we hope for, thousands of frontline nurses and teachers in particular, that they remember that come election time and they stand with the parties that stood with them in terms of supporting freedom of association.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think I was watching that press conference you did here in Victoria, and I think you said you have 26,000 members across Australia or something like that.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've only been around for 13 years, and we started just as the Nurses Association in Queensland. And in that jurisdiction where we are, where we started just over a decade ago, we're already 30% of the workforce. Like, that's pretty massive with complete legislative inequality. Like, we haven't had the same ability to register because they've got that conveniently belong rule there. They've kicked us out of the state as like the second tier down as an incorporated association there, and we've had to reincorporate in Victoria and provide those services from there. So all these obstacles, and massive credit to, in particular, Jack McGuire, our managing director, who's just been absolutely dogged in making sure that this thing keeps the show on the road. But when the Palaszczuk government tried to shut us down in 2022, we had 17,000 members. And we grew, and I'm sure it'll happen again this time around. So I don't think they know what they're doing. They're doing it as favours for Trades Hall. They only think in terms of election cycles, and they're thinking we're facing a pretty massive wipeout at the next election. I mean, the internal polling must be pretty bad for the Labor right faction to tick off on free dental. Like that, it's a pretty big stretch for those guys. So, that's sort of where we sit at the moment. But yeah, that's, I guess, the update.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And for those who are sort of interested in the Red Unions, what is Red Unions about, and how can people get involved with you guys?
Yeah, so I I mean, on redunion.com.au, you can sign up. We've got, particularly for nurses, teachers, doctors, and police officers. But we've got fiery members as well. We've got an Independent Workers Union of Australia. We've got a lot of things on the horizon as well, with the big build in Queensland coming up for the election. Not the big build in Victoria. We might, we might like to live. But in saying that, we the CFMU are the ones the government are currently dealing with, along with the AWU in Queensland for that stuff. But I floated in a News 24 article a couple of months back that we may look to set up an alternative to the CFMU. So there's a lot of different things happening. But join us. A cheaper union protection. This basically means in your workplace, if you face allegations, if you face underpayments or whatever it might be, there's bullying or whatever, we can help. So we have best case management team in the country. Look at the Google reviews. The proof is in the pudding. We don't hide any of the services that we do or don't provide. And we're pretty upfront on the fact that we can't register as a union nationally. And what that means is essentially that our members have to appoint us for bargaining instead of being automatically appointed, which they do, and then we bargain anyway. And in some states, it's just not being able to do sort of things like right of entry and that sort of stuff. So, but the day-to-day union business, which 90% of people want a union for, we provide, and particularly for nurses who have to have indemnity insurance. Unions are the biggest provider of indemnity insurance to be able to practice. So that's what we do. So join us. Feel free to give us a buzz. We can chat about what you're wanting, what you're after, and pricings can be pretty flexible. So give us a call.
Yeah, that's really good. But we'll let you go, Edward. We know how busy you are. Thank you so much for coming on. And for people that want to find out more, they can go to Edward's YouTube channel. He's on Facebook, X, and he's on the podcast stream at the moment. He's here, but he was on Sam Banford recently. And I think, did you do the Adelaide set as well?
Adelaide set with George. A few things happening, which is great.
No, that's awesome. Well, thanks, Edward. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming
Have a good
on.
one.
Riley. Thanks, John. Awesome. All good?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
We'll let you go, and we'll keep going. Brilliant.
Sounds good. Alrighty, thanks, gentlemen.
Cheers. Thank you, Edward. Have a good one.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye. Right, that's amazing you have Edward on.
Yeah, fantastic. Very interesting to hear that. I didn't know much about it till this morning till we researched it a little bit. And no, definitely very important, especially so much is on the line there.
Oh, yeah, certainly. And in my Role for Family Voice, we're going to do a media release on it next week. Because, we need to stand behind people that are standing up against bullies and tyrants that are saying that you can't have a place in our society, which is shocking. So,
as you said, it's Soviet. I think that's a really good. I think that's a really good adjective.
Yeah.
For the lady.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And I reckon I might play a section from Edward's interview with Karl Stefanovic as a sort of a primer for people, because he talked a bit about the sexualization of children in the education curriculum, and I thought it was quite poignant. I'm going to see if I can find the spot, Riley. If you just want to give me a second.
Yeah, that's all good. You mentioned before about Wear It Purple Day. I just caught that, and I don't fully understand what is Wear It Purple Day. Like, I've heard of.
Well,
but
I don't know like a lot about it. I only just saw it come up on my feed. That's going to be tomorrow. But I think it's basically sort of like a day of like inclusion, where it's sort of like, we like this is in schools, right? And so this is like, oh yeah, we support you and all that sort of stuff, and
I'm gonna look it up just to get a little.
Yeah, go for it.
context about what it is exactly, because I've heard of it, but I actually don't know what it is exactly. Here we go. Okay, so it's Wear It Purple Day is an annual national day of significance in Australia held on the last Friday of August. So, yep, today to celebrate the support LGBTQIA plus young people. So, yeah, celebrated in schools, universities. Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Yeah. It's it's
Yeah.
Sodom and Gomorrah
Oh yeah,
kind of
getting those
vibe there. I don't know.
Sodom and Gomorrah vibes. Yep, that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I should have, or do I? Oh, maybe I don't. All right, give me 2 seconds. I drag this. Can I drag this over? Am I technologically savvy enough to drag this over?
Well, it is
I.
still quite early in the morning.
It is still quite early in the morning, and I had a late night last night, but that was my own doing.
You had a great night. You got to interview the leader of drumroll.
Turning Point Australia.
Yes. How did it go, John? How was the event?
It was really good. Got to have a great chat with Joel. He's a really lovely guy. First time for me meeting him. Yeah, got to do a quick interview with him. So yeah, he's a really nice guy. And I hope people get behind them for the state election. Because, they are going to do a lot of good work here in Victoria. So I think it's certainly worth getting behind them. Yeah, we saw a lot of what their campaigns are going to be for this election, and they're really good. Like, they're really worthwhile. Stuff that, like, one thing I think this was Joel. He said this was his favorite for the night. One thing they're going to do is they're going to make like a report card for every politician, right? How have they voted on every single bill? And so then you'll be able to just search it up by postcode, and then you'll know how your politician has gone. So that stuff like that, like where we're getting transparency into government, fantastic.
I wish, yeah, no, that'd be great for New South Wales election next year.
Oh
I
yeah,
wish
he's
that would be
definitely
the
going to do that.
case. Yeah, yeah, awesome.
Well, he's a New South Wales local, so yeah. Okay, let me bring this up a bit. All right, so this is Edward Schuller on the Karl Stefanovic podcast, and he did a really good job. This is quite graphic, so yeah. Yep,
I think it is mute. Yeah.
So much for your time, appreciate it. Look, as you'd know, a Gold Coast mum named Kate sent us this actual booklet that was handed to her 11-year-old at school. I was pretty disturbed by it. How did you respond?
Yeah, I mean, the first feeling is far out. What has this got to do with children? Why is this being pushed onto children at schools? And I think the most interesting part is that it's not a public school. There's a lot of, denigration of public schools being the only place where this sort of, hardcore sex education stuff takes place. But this is a very well-off private school, and these I think what it did, particularly for me, is open my eyes to do a fair bit of research into what's happening at the moment. And there is a sexual industrial complex that is operating in Australia. It's called the Sexual and Reproductive Health Australia, SRHA. And the agency that was engaged in this case is the Queensland-based one, True Education. But essentially, it's part of a broader coalition of organisations which, yes, provide sexual education, and, we can get into what's being provided, particularly graphic sexual education from very young ages, not just secondary school. This is primary school, and there's also a lot of stuff that I want to talk about that's happening in childcare centres. So not just that, but also they're providers of transgender ideology, transgender education, but also transgender surgery itself. And they're also abortion providers, which sort of just paints a bit of a picture as to the web that's actually happening here. We would hope, Karl, that it's just a one-off at this one school, but it's not.
All right, so let's step it back. Outline to anyone watching right now what this 11-year-old was shown when it was supposed to be just basic talk about body changes.
Yeah, well, shown information about wet dreams, speaking about masturbation. I'm sorry to be graphic, but it is sort of like that. And I think, when we first heard about it, Karl, you get quite fired up about it, and it's just not right. So I think it's important to sort of show the things that are happening, and I guess a viewer discretion is advised here, and you guys might have to blur it out. But this is the sort of thing being provided for secondary schools. This is in the official True Education material. It's talking about, thruples, all of this horrific stuff, which is anything but normal. The most important point here, Karl, is that most parents have no idea that this is actually going on. They sign the form because they think sex ed is what it used to be when they were at school, which is, talking about, the changes of the body during puberty. And then at the very most extreme end is, this is what safe sex would look like. This is how to apply a condom, all of that sort of stuff. But it has become so graphic, even since I was at school 6 years ago. This stuff is just far and away. It is borderline. I would argue it's just completely pornographic material, and it's being provided to kids at a very young age, and it's having very devastating impact. I think so we can understand, so your viewers can properly understand the gravity of this and the scale of this. This one example at a well-off private school on the Gold Coast, this organisation, True Education, again, is part of this coalition of state bodies which does this sort of sex education and all of those other services I spoke about. Over the last 5 years alone, they've received over $230 million of government funding, overwhelmingly majority government funded. Queensland's one of the worst, Victoria as well, and Jacinta Allen's been a big advocate for a lot of this trans sex ed in schools. She's gone now, but Ben Carroll's the new premier, and he's looking the exact same. He's been an education minister that's promoted a lot of this stuff. So you've got to understand that these agencies that are getting involved, they're coming in under the guise of, safe practice, best medical practice, but it's a Trojan horse for some of the most grotesque, horrific things that would traumatize a child, even a teenager. But this is being shown to primary school kids, and even toddlers are being told about consent, sexual consent. This is part of the programs that this True Education provider.
I find that difficult to comprehend. What kind of proof do you have that toddlers are seeing this kind of stuff? Because you're talking about childcare centres at that point, and then what are they seeing in primary school? The secondary school stuff, I worry less about. It's still a worry for me, but the content of what I saw for the primary school students here, I've got two daughters, and if my 11-year-old was seeing this stuff, I'd be banging down the door of the principals, let me tell you. But you mentioned toddlers. That's a whole new realm. I don't even know how that happens. What sort of proof do you have of that?
Well, I'll give you an example. When I was down in my work for the TPAA and Alternative Education Union, I was down in Melbourne last year working there, and I went to a site visit at a childcare centre. It starts off much more subtle. It's during Pride Month, all of the flags are up. Everyone wearing the lanyards. It's the discussion about openly how you're feeling. Oh, you might not be in the right body. These things are instructed from a very young age from these agencies. And that's just one example. Kids are very inquisitive. They're going to ask these questions, which is why it's just so sinister. But then you can say, oh, well, that's all theoretical. There's no real practical impact of, there being these flags around, or there being, the concept of sexual consent for toddlers, which again is pushed by these providers. But we've seen an increase in child-on-child sexual assaults in childcare centres. There was a report. Parents came forward, 4-year-old on a 4-year-old. And when I heard that, I'm thinking, well, they're accessing some kind of external pornography, or they're seeing something at home.
Mad. So I find all that very incredibly disturbing.
Yeah, well, so yeah, that's that. Gosh, that is absolutely disgusting. Great work by Edward to expose it, but absolutely disgusting stuff.
Wow. Wow, and that's happening in so-called Christian schools, right?
Yeah. I have first-hand evidence of this because I was talking to one of my youth from my church, and they were saying that every week they have personal development class at this Christian school, and every week they talk about puberty. Every week. And I told him that, oh yeah, we didn't talk about this much when I was at school, and he's like, oh, how often? Like once a fortnight? And I was like, no, once a year, max. And my parents didn't let me go to that.
Yeah.
Like this is so disgusting what they're doing to children.
Mm. I wonder why.
Well, I think that there's an agenda. I think they're trying to. Well, it's like it. There's I think there's an agenda and a philosophy, right? I think there's a philosophy that we are what we want to be. That like whatever we think we should have, we can have. That we're sexual beings, not primarily communal ones, and ones that have to be devoted to God. So I think that's the ideology behind it. I think the agenda is very anti-God in that regard, where we're trying to go against everything that God stands for. Um, yeah,
Yeah. Um, I just wonder why they're targeting like toddlers. It's just I don't see why a toddler would need to be taught about consent that early.
yeah, 100%.
It's just yeah.
And the thing is, right, if you teach your kids properly, like you'll know what the right age is. Teachers don't know what the right age is because they've got like 30 kids in a class. How are they supposed to know what the individual needs are for every single child?
Mm,
Like obviously they do the best they can, right? But
yeah.
uh like there's still this is not a we keep the thing, right, is we keep taking the roles of parents and giving them to government or to schools or even in some cases to the church, right? Because I think the church has a lot of roles to play, right? But
Mm,
the parents are like, oh yeah, I'll just hand my kids over to church and Sunday school on Sunday morning and then bring them home and then that's enough for them. I don't have to do any of the work at home or very little, right? But that's
mm,
that's the problem. We keep handing off our own responsibility. What's the Spider-Man quote? With great power comes great responsibility. You know,
mm.
Spider-Man's good for something. Best superhero ever. Um,
What about
but
Jesus?
yeah, but Jesus isn't a superhero. Is real.
He's a superhero. Yeah, superheroes are real.
No, they're not.
Yeah. Talking
Come on,
about real
Riley.
people, not Marvel and DC. Those are just make believe.
Okay. All right, Riley.
All
Okay.
right, it's for kids.
Okay, fine.
Actually, apparently everything's for kids now.
Yeah, literally. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and I was looking. I this is something I'd learned a while ago, but
Mm,
Satanism, a big part of Satanism, their philosophy is self-worship. And a lot
mm,
of Satanists define it as self-worship. That's what Satanism is. And
yeah.
to bring it back to that philosophy, you're perfect, you can be what you want. It's kind of pandering to that satanic philosophy.
Yeah.
In this all connects, which is um, yeah, I just thought of that.
Mm.
What do you think about that? It's a bit of a extreme kind of take, but
No, I don't think that's extreme at all. I think it's very satanic. I think in scripture it's very clear that we don't fight uh, against people, but we fight against spiritual forces. I think it's in Ephesians. I think that the battle is not against the people in the world, but rather the forces that are behind it. We know that the supernatural realm is real, and that Satan and demons and demonic forces are working hard against us. So we've got to be aware of that. That ultimately, uh, people are like there's people that champion this stuff, right? But a lot of people are just caught up in it. They don't know any better. Sort of like in Nineveh, Jonah was told to go to them and preach the gospel and tell them to repent. And Jonah's like, "What? These evil people. Why would I? Why would I go do that?" He tried to go the opposite way, and then he got spat out of a whale and was meant to go to Nineveh. Uh, and he did, and they did repent. And later on, they turned around and did all the bad stuff again. But at that time they did repent, right? Because they did, to some extent they didn't know better until someone came. I think it's in Romans where it says, "How will people know unless there is there's a preacher? How will you know?" Oh, actually, I should bring that up. Is I'm misquoting that dramatically. It's in Romans 10. I know that much. Uh, stop it with the okay.
It always seems to be connected though. It's like with the fight with
Oh yeah,
abortion or
yeah.
this, or everything seems to be always connected. Um, yeah, that's what I find.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here it is. 10 Romans 10:14. How then can they call on the one they have not believed in, or how can they believe in the one whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can anyone preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. Um, so yeah, ultimately we've got to be out there being like, there's another way. Like obviously a lot of the arguments are so stupid. So it's not not to be rude, but it's not
Based.
but based, yeah. But there's no substance to their arguments because ultimately it's a belief system above all else, right? And so arguments will take you so far. With some people, will take you further. Other people, not so much. But you got to get down to that root of where their heart is. I think that's how we take the left back.
But they seem to have this the reason, a big reason why people are left wing is because I feel like they're on this virtuous pedestal above all
Mm,
people that are
yeah,
of Christian faith
yeah,
or whatever, any pretty much any religious faith.
yeah, yeah.
That's why they're left wing, is because they seem to be the only ethical people left in the world, and that's like their crusade to kind of bring everyone to the so-called light of
Yeah.
virtuous socialism, which we know is a devastating ideology.
Oh, but Riley, it'll work one day. You know, it'll work one day. It hasn't worked all of these times for these last couple of days. Oh, but it will work one day. Just one day, it'll work.
Yeah, look, oh gosh, I have them all listed in my mind of all the statistics of all the people that have died. So
Yeah.
whenever I go into one of these debates, one of these, as you say, stupid debates that they have, I can just list all of the numbers of the victims, like 1 in 4 in Cambodia, up to 80 million in China.
Yeah.
Uh, in I think it was 18 months, 7 million Christians were killed in Ukraine. So um, and feminism, that's another ideology that the
Mm,
left wing love. And how many babies has that killed?
yeah. Uh,
Quite I think
oh,
it's in the
it's
billions, easy.
it's more than World War II. I'm pretty sure.
Oh gosh, it's more than like double. It's in the billions, I think. It's 1.3 billion. I'm pretty sure.
Let me have a look.
I if I remember
So
correctly.
about 73 million every year, roughly. Um,
I've heard, well, no, I didn't. I saw it on Instagram Reels, to be honest, and it was more babies have died via abortion than men dying in wars throughout world history. That was the title of the clip.
that's
I'm not sure. I don't want to claim that
yeah,
because
yeah.
in case it's not.
So according to that, in 20 years, that's 1.5 billion babies, if my maths is right, because it's 73. No, that's wrong. No, that's bad maths. Okay. 73 is 1 year. 730 is 10 years. 20 years is, oh no, that's right, 1.5 billion. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
In 20 years, 1.5
That's
billion babies.
So from 1980 through to the mid 2020s, are calculated to be between 1.3 billion and 2 billion babies have been killed since roughly 1980 to now. That's almost. Is that more? I'm going to look this up because I need to fact check this. This is according
Yeah.
to Google AI, Gemini. So just to have that out there.
And that's the thing, right? If we had, let's say, there was no abortion, right? I reckon our population worldwide would probably be like something. It'd probably be at least 10 billion, if not more, right?
Yeah.
And then the scientists are like, we gotta get rid of these people because we've got too many people, overpopulation. And I've got an article in front of me. This was a couple of weeks ago, and it was all over the news. It wasn't even like, again, it's the thing with the left. We're talking to this Edward Schuller that they're not even hiding it anymore. They're just like blatant. They're just like, we've got it, we've won. Uh, it says here, scientists say Earth must cut population down to 4 billion people. Researchers propose a smaller population for a healthier planet. And if I said that 5 years ago, people were like, oh, you conspiracy theorist, Bill Gates, you always talking about Bill Gates, but nothing
Get the
says Bill Gates.
vaccine.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, but they're literally saying it. We wanted to delete 4 billion people.
Delete. I mean, they're doing a great job at deleting people
Yeah.
because 150 million to over 1 billion deaths total, men dying in wars in world history. So that's world history since the dawn of time. And since 1980 to now, 2 billion babies have been aborted roughly, up to 2 billion, up to.
That's
So
insane.
way more than men dying in wars. Abortion, right? So
yeah,
feminism is the worst mental. Would we call it a disease? Would that be? Well, it's more of a
I'm
philosophy,
happy.
or
We'll just go with philosophy or ideology for now. But yeah,
ideology. Yeah, I would love to say that, but I don't want to be. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So it's the most destructive ideology in world history known to mankind is feminism. It's destroyed
100%.
billions of lives.
Yeah.
It is absolutely diabolical. And if communism wasn't bad enough, they're also feminist.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Yeah. I thought that would be really. I wish I had the stats beforehand. I'm sorry, but
no, that's all right.
But yeah.
Well, we didn't realize we were going to talk about this.
No.
But something else, I'm going to share this. Is Jordan Abuzid. He's done a fantastic report on how the left have been stacking the decks against us. And so it's called Stacking the Deck. How government lobbies. Oh, did I highlight that? Oh, yeah. How government lobbies itself. Let me read that again, because how government lobbies itself and funds the distortion of democracy. And let's read this as executive summary here, right? So, the research paper examines the extent to which Australian state and federal governments provide funding to non-government organisations that engage in lobbying back to government. So they're literally giving money to people to lobby them. Isn't that the most insane thing you've ever heard in your life? I mean, it's not even like, oh, I'm paying to get a survey done, or I'm paying to, to get a focus group done. This is like, I'm paying you to tell me what I want to hear. Oh, this is hilarious. But yeah, the sample of 100 NGOs across 5 public policy areas reveals that they received $2.2 billion from taxpayers between 2021 and 2025. 100 NGOs, $2.2 billion in 5 years. And this is not across the board, because look, to engage in advocacy on progressive or left-leaning policy priorities. They're literally stacking the decks against us.
No wonder they had to adjust the capital gains tax if they're paying for this garbage.
Yeah, 100%. And Joel talked a little bit of this last night actually. That a lot of the problems we face is on the money side, right? If we had the same money the left do, we'd be doing so well.
It would be an empire. It would be an empire,
yeah.
a based empire.
Oh yeah, we would have taken over New Zealand and Papua New Guinea by now.
Papua New Guinea, yeah.
And it is some more of it. This support, so this 1 billion in support across these 5 categories entails direct funding for diversity NGOs, the creation of advocacy structures such as the National Women's Alliances, funded through the Federal Office for Women, and the government membership of bodies such as the Diversity Council of Australia. I can't even, this is how do you even, it goes on and on and on, right? All this 170 billion here, 97 million here, 310 billion there, 622 billion there. I mean, look at that. Oh, there's a graph for you. There you go. Look at that.
Nanny state and public health advocacy, diversity, multiculturalism advocacy. Whoa, that's a lot.
It's just going up.
It's just going up. Yes, I mean it's a lot. It's just piling up. Wow, 2023 to 2024, 2025. That's a massive jump. That's the biggest jump yet. Wow.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's insane. This is actually insane. So yeah, highly recommend. Oh my gosh! Whoa! Look at this! Look at this! 2 billion. Oops. Wait.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me. Can I get this out of the way? How do I get this out of the way?
Council.
Yeah. What would? There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. So these are the organizations Jordan's talking about. It's just they put in a table there. Diversity and multiculturalism advocacy, $1 billion. Nanny state and public health advocacy, $622 million. Lawfare and the welfare state, $300 million. Indigenous co-governance and self-determination advocacy, $96 million. Environmental advocacy, well, we love the greenies, $169 million for a total over 5 years of $2.2 billion.
That's got to be a lot of solar panels. That's tremendous.
Oh my goodness! I mean,
why
you can't
isn't
make this
Pauline
stuff up.
Hanson talking about this? She needs to come out and talk about this.
Yeah.
The right-wing people, politicians, people, even journalists, just need to bring this out into the mainstream more because people need to hear about it. It's our money, and they're just
100%.
throwing it away to garbage. Initiatives.
Quite literally.
So, yeah.
Oh, well, that happened.
Yeah.
And I got published in the Women's Weekly actually. So there's that too. I'll see if I can bring it up a lot. I don't think I can.
John got really lucky. He was in this based article. There was a picture of him and Andrew Tate.
I took a shot at Andrew Tate.
Yeah. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, obviously Women's Weekly is fairly liberal. So they weren't painting a positive picture of John's ideology, but was it more? It was more neutral, I would say. It wasn't too bad. It was liberal, but it wasn't extremist.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember I read I think towards the title, and I saw regressive. I'm like, oh, that's not a good start. Yeah.
No.
I don't think I can.
But yeah, excellent job though. It was shame it wasn't recorded that we could hear the interview. So it'd be interesting to see what what you actually said and what she actually wrote. Like that comparison would
Well,
be interesting.
I actually recorded it.
Oh, you did?
I did record it just in case. So I think she probably used the good parts actually. I think some of the rest of it wasn't. I didn't think I formulated my sentences as well. Oh yeah. Okay, so I found like they've done like a briefing of it, but the title of the article is "Trad Wife Generation. Why are we yearning for yesteryear?" Oh, that's hilarious. What a title. What a title. I wish I could, just bring it up. I don't have my physical copy here in the room. Otherwise, I would, show everyone. But I haven't read the whole article yet. I only read the bit about me. So I'm
An
just to make
article
sure.
about him, and he hasn't even read it. So I don't blame the audience for not reading it yet at all. Come on.
Yeah, you can pick it up from Coles or Woolies, or your news agent. Women's Weekly, September edition. It's got a lady wearing pink on the front. So that's how you know. Yeah, I need to plug my camera in because it's about to die. But I'll be back in 2 seconds.
All right, yeah. While John's adjusting the camera, I'll just say quickly that this weekend on Sunday, on the 30th of August, across Australia, there will be marches for free speech, and I think even just with this episode, we just spoke to Edward Schuller about it. Free speech is eroding. The government is slowly evolving into this dictatorial socialist Soviet, as he said, it was his word, Soviet government. So I think that free speech is the most important thing because without free speech, we can't debate things like abortion. We can't talk about our opinions even
Yeah.
about everything, including religion. Religion. So in Tasmania, for example, there's laws coming out against conversion laws. Is that correct?
Conversion therapy, yeah.
Conversion therapy laws, yeah.
Yeah.
So conversion therapy laws, for example. So free speech is at the forefront of our liberties, I would argue, and our freedoms in a democratic, free country. In America, it's in their constitution, the First Amendment. Unfortunately, we don't have that in this country, and it's beginning to show itself and reveal itself that we desperately need that. And yeah, because people are getting imprisoned, people are being arrested just for having an opinion. But yet again, we still have these attacks happening across the country. For example, was it yesterday or the day before in Melbourne? A kid with a brain tumor, he had cancer, was
Yeah.
attacked.
10-year-old, I think. Yeah.
10-year-old, and his mother was stabbed with a pair of scissors by an African migrant. So I think people should have the right to have an opinion. Left wing, socialist, communist, feminists are allowed to say whatever the hell they want. They're allowed to kill kids. We're not
Yeah.
even allowed to have an opinion about that. We're heading in that direction. We're getting there. So definitely go to the marches. I think it's 12 p.m. everywhere except for Western Australia. I think it's 1 p.m. there. All the capital kind of cities of the states.
No, I think it must be if it's 12 p.m. on the eastern states, then it must be 10 a.m. in WA.
10 a.m. I think could be wrong.
Really? Oh, I'm wrong. Oh no.
No, me. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
It's happened. I'm wrong. Yeah.
No. No, you could. I could be wrong because I'm pretty. It's 12 p.m. everywhere. I could be.
Are they starting at the same time or not?
Not sure.
Because if they're starting at the same time, right, then the times will be different. But if they're not starting at the same time, then
All
the
right,
time.
here we go. Yeah, so 12 p.m. everywhere except for Perth. So it's
But then
1
what about
p.m. in
South
Perth.
Australia?
12 p.m.
Oh, yeah. So
Everywhere's-
okay, so it's for everyone's time zone. Okay, so yeah, they're not starting at the same time. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so 12 p.m. everywhere except for Perth, which is 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. But it goes for about roughly 2 hours. You'll meet a lot of patriots there, a lot of based Australian Christians or people, even Muslims, were there last time. Muslims, people of all faiths, ethnicities, they're with Aussie flags, representing free speech. And it doesn't matter. Free speech knows no
bounds.
discrimination, no bounds, because everyone will be there, and there will be counter protests, which is really interesting because the people counter protesting free speech are communist, and
yeah.
yeah,
I was going to say something. Yeah, and now I've just had self control after feedback from our leadership team.
Ew. Yeah, for some really interesting commentary, I'll be doing some videos there. A couple of people from the leadership team will be in the Sydney rally. But not sure about Melbourne. I wouldn't suggest going to the Melbourne one. I'm not going to endorse anyone going to that because Melbourne is like
Melbourne.
An apocalypse down there when it
We're
comes
like
to rallies.
hell, like 2.0. You know,
Hell 2.0.
we're trying to copy the big red dude in red tights.
I mean,
Take
Melbourne's
that,
got great
Satan.
coffee. Outside of coffee, Melbourne's just mid, I would say.
Outside of coffee, everything else, it's over. There's no hope.
Yeah. Well, if you go to the rally on the weekend, there could be some hope. And look, you'll go to this rally and you'll get so many handshakes. You'll get like mateship is present. It's a vibe, and nowhere else. Not even like Anzac Day. You do the Welcome to Country on Anzac Day. It's everything else has been spoiled by communism. So I would argue that this is probably this and the Australia Day March, which was great last year. I unfortunately didn't go, but Pauline Hanson and the amazing politician Bob Katter spoke. I love Bob Katter. He's my favorite politician.
Love Bob. I thought
He's
he would
probably
have been
my
the
favorite.
Queensland one.
He was in Canberra. He went to the Canberra one
Oh.
last year. No, this year. Sorry, for Australia Day.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it's Australia Day March and the March for Free Speech. So that's this 30th of August. So
We love Bob.
Yeah, Bob's great.
Bob is great.
He has a tendency.
He's the goat.
Ignorance is strength. So ignore what the leadership team is saying. That's a 1984 quote for context.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, that makes sense. That's funny.
No, it'll be a good day. It'll be a good day.
Yeah.
And just pray that the police do the right thing. And protect. Last year, the police did an outstanding job here in Sydney. I ended up going and shaking a couple of their hands and just thanking them for protecting us against the communists. But the police, I think they're on our side. They're there to protect us. So you'll be
not
safe.
in Victoria, but yes, you're right.
In every other state and territory, excluding Victoria. I mean, the police are great.
Yeah. Well, actually, like for the March of the Babies, right? Like they were actually really good to us because they were like, you're not like the other protesters. Like you don't like cause trouble for us. So you're great. Don't worry, we got you. You were like, thanks, guys. We appreciate it. So
yeah, no, you respect the right wing are all about respecting authority. We're all about respecting authority. So
not the right wing. I would say the right, not the right wing.
The right wing. Oh, why is that?
Do we want to go there? Well, Ozpil wasn't at the Turning Point Australia event last night, so
he was.
He wasn't.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe he lives on the west side. I don't know.
Wasn't he up in Canberra? He did that video calling on Donald Trump to come and liberate Australia.
I saw that. Yeah. I mean, everything he said was pretty fair. So I'm not into Ozpil a lot, but I thought that was fair what he said. So God bless God bless our troops and gentlemen. Start your engines. Yeah.
This is getting clipped. Oh gosh.
Oh goodness, it's too early in the morning. It's 11:23. Okay, it's not that early.
No, for the earliest we've done was a pre-recorded. That was
Yeah.
no, you did one with was it
Oh, with
Dave Rubin?
Dave
Like
Rubin.
at
Yeah.
like 4 a.m. or something, 5 a.m.
No, it wasn't 4. It was like, oh, I'm gonna say it. It was like 6 or 7. I can't remember which one it was.
6, 7? Yeah. Well, the one we did,
That was
whose
7, wasn't it?
7. Yeah, that was 7. See, these
Well, I didn't
Americans
do
need
it.
to.
Yeah.
These
I woke up for it,
Americans,
but yeah.
you woke up for it. You slept in. We had a late night last night for the
Yeah.
event, so
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
yeah.
I think I've got a photo with Joel somewhere. Anyways, yeah. Well, we could end it there, Riley. I reckon.
Yeah.
You know, a
I think we
shorter
should
episode
scrap.
for people to digest.
I think so. Scrap the word association. I would.
Yeah, let's not do that. Yeah. We have learnt from our ways, and
Albanese. No.
Riley, calm down.
What a way to
Let's
get
have
started.
some
Start your engines.
restraint.
No.
Start your engines.
Oh gosh.
Amazing. Well, thank you all for watching.
Yeah.
If you are in Victoria, come to the candidate forums. This is super important. Go to acl.org.au/forums so you can register. First ones are in the eastern region and southeast regions, southeast metro rather. And so they're going to be really good. Make sure to register for those, because there's going to be a lot of politicians there that you're going to be asking your questions. That's going to be the main part of the night is you asking your questions. So we're going to do that. But yeah, make sure you come. Make sure you register. Because this is a really important election, and you need to know who you're voting for. And we've got to get our preferencing right. I'm going to do a lot of videos on preferencing, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Riley.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a great episode, and just go have a look at the forums and the March for Australia. Or March for Free Speech. Those are the two big events coming up. So
yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Yes.
Yeah,
Have a good day.